Hey, fishing and outdoors family, welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I know this has been a very scary and trying time for everyone. I want to make sure you know that we're here for you. Almost everyone is taking a hit right now, some more than others. As some of you know, I operate an Airbnb here in Nashville, and all our bookings were completely wiped out. March was supposed to be our biggest month, and April was almost booked solid, and now there's nothing. That's a huge part of our income, and it's completely gone for the moment. So we completely understand how those of you who have lost jobs, businesses, and investments must be feeling. But we must remain positive and not let fear overtake us. Try to spend time in gratitude each day. You know, we're a very blessed group of people that we have a passion and a love for the outdoors. I don't know about you, but I find myself appreciating it even more now. The birds are still singing, the fish are still swimming, and nature continues on, and there's something really powerful about that. I think out of this situation, we have a major opportunity to introduce others to the wonder of the outdoors, even if it has to be done from a healthy distance right now. And we're determined to keep this podcast going however we can so we can continue to be a resource for you and for newcomers who will hopefully be realizing what they've been missing while they've been overworking or spending too much time cooped up inside. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, please do so. Now more than ever, we need to be connected. If you're introducing someone new to the outdoors, please invite them to join our group as well. We're all here to help each other. We want to inspire, educate, and connect with each other, and that's what this show is all about. If you happen to be in a position to help and support our show, I want to remind you that we have a Patreon account set up. There's a lot of different levels, ways you can contribute. We have a tip jar set up that's as little as $1 a month, and then it goes up from there. And you can find that at patreon.com/thewomanangler. Patreon is Patreon. Patreon.com/thewomanangler. Thanks so much for those of you who already signed up and continue to support the show even through these difficult times. That means the world to us, and, we're going to get through this together. And speaking of supporting each other, I have some exciting news from our friends over at L's Goldfish Lure Company. Since several of the remaining big sports and outdoor shows were canceled, L's wanted to extend to you their special sports show pricing on their amazing lures. To access this, all you need to do is go to their website at lsgoldfish.com. Select your products and use the coupon code SPRING2020 at checkout. That's SPRING2020, all one word. And that'll give you 25% off your entire order. And as a bonus, if you mention in the comments section the Woman Angler and Adventurer, they're going to throw in a special prize just for you, our listeners. So head on over to lsgoldfish.com and get your order in ASAP. All right, one more thing before we get into this week's episode, which I'm super excited about. So a couple of years ago, I wrote a song that got picked up and recorded by a country music artist named Ricky Lee. It was a song I wrote during a very difficult time in my life, and though Ricky isn't a mainstream big country star, the people who have heard the song at his shows and online, and it's on iTunes and Spotify and all that, they've been really inspired by it. So I'm going to throw that in at the end of this episode. If you're looking for something extra to soothe your soul a bit today, be sure and listen through the end, and I hope it helps. I'll put a link to the video in the show notes as well. It contains a lot of inspirational quotes and images that I find really helpful in trying times. Okay, so on this week's episode of The Woman Angler and Adventurer, I'm excited to share with you two awesome conversations I had while at the Bassmaster Classic in Birmingham. The first is Gerald and LeAnn Swindle, aka GMAN and Lulu. I've been wanting to have LeAnn on ever since I got to ride with GMAN at last year's Classic in Knoxville. He was telling me all about the hard work she puts in behind the scenes, and she's really a big reason he's been so successful as an angler. Heck, she was even the one back in the boat trailer down the ramp. So it's a really cool perspective to hear, and I'm so happy we finally got to make it happen this year. Then I had a conversation with Bassmaster Open's tournament angler Trait Zaldain. I first met Trait at last year's Classic as well, and for those of you who don't know, she's married to Bassmaster Elite Series angler Chris Zaldain. That definitely makes for an interesting perspective as well, so I think you're going to really enjoy what she has to say. I'll let the rest speak for itself. I hope you enjoy. Angie Scott with the Woman Angler and Adventure, and I think we finally made it happen. We're at the Bassmaster Classic, and we've got GMAN and Lulu.
You trying to say we're hard to catch up with, like a fish, like a slippery fish?
Yeah,
we caught up with you, but we were drinking that time, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
This one's hard to catch up with.
Yeah.
It's because I'm having to chase you around.
Yeah, that's right.
That could be worse. Could be chasing Ike.
Have you seen what's on my back?
A big pack. The 50th Classic is jamming.
Sticker.
Yeah, James Watson. He loves you. He loves you. We're glad to be on. We know, and we appreciate your patience on letting you get in here and hide us around today. But you've been hustling too now.
Oh yeah.
The podcast is growing.
Yep, it is. We just won an award, Best Outdoor Podcast for 2019 from the Outdoor Media Summit. So,
there you go.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Going out on Gunnersville tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, going out with Yamaha.
First time.
First time to ever be on on the Big G.
You'll fall in love.
I can't wait. I got a tournament there, I think, in May. So
okay.
Yeah. So we met last year at the Classic in Knoxville, and I got to ride along on practice day, and it was awesome. And you kind of were telling me about all the stuff that Lulu does behind the scenes. And so to back it up a little bit, last year was my first Classic, and I've never done a ride along before, so I was kind of doing some research. And I was getting a little nervous because I was reading about some marshals were saying, like, sometimes you're expected to back the boat in and stuff. And I was like, oh, God, all these people are going to be looking at me. And I was so relieved when you guys pulled up and you were behind the wheel.
Oh, yes. But now I hit the panic button sometimes, too, especially depending on where we are. You know, if it's dark, you know, my eyes don't see as good in the dark, in the low light now. So, yeah, I like to be in the back of the line, see that sun starting to peep up.
She's the best boat trailer backer out there.
No, I'm never going to brag.
She drives her own tractor. She backs the boat, the camper. She's got it.
Well, you were a pro that morning, and I was very thankful that you were there.
He's very good to put me extra lights on the back of the trailer so I can see.
Well, lights are good, but over 50, lights are crucial.
Amen.
So we were out. G-Man was kind of telling me about all the stuff that you do behind the scenes, and I was like, oh man, we need to have her on the show because that's a perspective that we've not had. So, what's a typical day in the life, a tournament day like for you?
Tournament day starts early, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, okay, I wear a lot of hats. I said my first hat of the day is usually a barista. Is that the way you say that? Because I'm the coffee maker. I'm the sandwich maker. I'm what were you telling in the seminars last week?
You're my inspirational life coach, my spiritual coach, reading my Bible scripture.
Whether he thinks he needs it or not, he gets a daily dose of that every morning.
You do wear a lot of hats. Your mornings start pretty rough. I mean, she's like, we hit the floor running, and you know she's never lets up from trying to get both of us get our coffee chugged down, and usually if we got Bama, I'm trying to get Bama out to pee, walk the dog. She's making sandwiches, trying to get breakfast ate, trying to get there. So she does a lot in the mornings. I mean, I see some wives that come out here and they're like, never get up. They don't even know what's going on during the day. And she's been up for 4 hours, done everything. I'm like, she hustles, man. So
we're a two-man team. I mean, that's the thing. This is work for us. I mean, we have 2 employees, he and I, and that, I mean, that is it. So
that's impressive.
I do everything I can to help him get out the door, and because when he leaves, I mean, it's all on him. And then, you know, I'll spend the day if there's list of errands, if there's, you know, changing of the oil that needs to be done, or if there's sponsor, you know, interactions, if there's tackle that needs to, if I need to run out and pick up, you know, certain baits, if he's, you know, running low on. So just anything really, when we're on the road, anything to make his job easier is really, I think, at the end of the day, what my job is.
You do a damn good job of it.
Well, thank you.
Or even sometimes running emergency trolling motors out.
Yeah,
I've done that.
That's one of the things, like, and some of the ladies will say, hey, do you want to go to the wine tasting or something? And she always says, I don't want to be 50 miles away, because if he breaks down, it's very crucial as fast as I can get to him, get the boat on the trailer and get back. That's the day. So it's weird for her perspective, because some of her friends are like, well, we're going here, we're going there. And we always have this thing, when we want a vacation, we'll go home and go away. But she knows, 2 hours of fishing time can mean the difference in making the Classic or not. So she's always been there and real good about that and raced to me. And she, actually, the year I won Angler of the Year, she got to me in time, brought me a trolling motor, and we went on to win AOI. So we kind of both know the importance of that. That's a team job.
You never want to be too far away and get that call. And I can remember that morning like it was yesterday. I just sat down to breakfast with some girlfriends and, right there in town, and my phone rings and you look down and everybody knows that call. So everybody just freezes and looks, and you're like, okay, I'll be right there. And I mean, it's like punched in the gut feeling. But if I'm away, I worry about it the entire time. So I typically don't. I just hang back and
work. We're not big partiers.
And you do a lot of the business stuff too.
I do. Gerald, we have a really good. We work well together. He does all negotiations on contracts, and then I go from there. I handle everything from that point forward.
She's been the face of the business through sponsors, and I think they enjoy working with her a lot more than I do myself. I'm usually busy, scatterbrained, on the water, or hard to reach. And she's very thorough, very detail-oriented, so she can get contracts finalized, attorneys brief them. She can type up all the changes, and it makes it a lot better, because if the sponsor enjoys working with you, it's a lot more pleasurable than being hard to reach, can't get anything done. Mm-hmm. So I tell everybody she's probably a lot more valuable in that aspect than I am. All I do is negotiate money, whether or not we'll take it or not, which sounds horrible, but after that, she finishes it.
Now, is that something you had experience in, or did you just learn it kind of along the way?
I learned it. I had a banking background, but I enjoy it. So it's funny. Parts of our job that he doesn't enjoy, I do, and then vice versa.
Yep. She's
so
great
it
in the
works.
office. Every sponsor, your wife's so detail-oriented, and she's so far out in front.
I'm an extreme planner.
Extreme planner.
He's not, but a lot of times the things that we do, you have to have a game plan. It can change, but you have to have some sort of game plan. So, but then, I'm the travel agent, because I book all reservations.
She don't like sponsors booking tickets, because they may book one that goes from Miami to Israel back to Montgomery, Alabama, because they got it for $16, and she's like, no, it don't work that way. So she's real thorough about going out front and saying, this is as fast as I can get you home and get you out of here. So, without that, we could lose another day at home. And when you don't have many days at home, that extra 10 or 12 hours is a bunch.
And this year, it's been funny, because show season, typically, I don't go. And this year, for whatever reason, I have been to, I think, every show that you've done.
Yeah, so
because we've driven instead of flying. And
I drove all the way from Orlando, Florida, after weighing in to finish 7th, jumped the truck, drove 4 hours that night, got in the truck the next morning, drove another 6 hours home, got to her, swap trucks, got in the truck, drove to Kentucky that night, got up at 5 a.m. and drove on to Indiana, where she was helping me drive. I was exhausted. I've been fishing for 10 days and had to be at that show at 10, and we spoke there to 5 that evening, got in the truck and drove 7.5 hours back home, so her being there sometimes just gives me an hour to lay on the window and rest. It means a bunch.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds like you're a well-oiled machine at this point.
Well, my damn knees don't think so. I can tell you that. You ain't heard my knees in the morning. Clack, clack, clack. We have our strong points, but most definitely I tell people what we've learned in this year and we're really having to look at is we work together so much and we stay on the road so much. It's business, business, business. So we really have to try to take time to be wife and husband.
We don't do that very well.
Like
we really don't.
Hunting.
We're trying. We do when we're hunting. We do.
But during
fishing
peak fishing season, she's on full business mode.
I can't turn it off. So, I start at coffee in the morning.
As soon as we get up, she's like, oh, we got this, this, and this. And I just woke up and I'm looking at her like, oh, my God. But we talked about that. We want to try to be more, trying to find that way we can turn it off and be that husband and wife, because you don't want every dinner to be business.
Right.
You don't want every breakfast to be business, but it's so hard when you're both driven and you want to succeed, and she don't want to, she's so detail oriented. She said, this is the only time you're sitting still, but we're working on that, and we talk about it as my career goes on, about the days I retire. And when I retire, I may not retire. I just may way back and just compete on the tournaments and spend more time with my wife. I just may not want all the sponsor obligations, but I think that's the biggest thing you run into working husband and wife, because we're together 24/7 a lot. It's just sitting down and saying we're going to be with each other. We're not going to talk business, and that's probably with anybody, no matter what you're doing. And
it's a fine line, because when he's mad at the office manager, he's mad at me. He's mad at his wife too. He can't just say, "Okay, it's 5:00. You're my wife now. I'm not mad at you." Oh yes, well I'm still mad at you, buddy.
So we're learning. It is a constant juggle of priorities and family, and now our grandchildren are getting older. Our daughter has moved 5 hours away, so like when we're home, just trying not to, find time to see the family. Our parents are up in age. My mom's staying sick a lot more. So we're seeing our lives change a lot and what the priority is in being home and still trying to compete. So it's an eventful learning year every year. It changes every year.
Every year we start that new season out with a different game plan. We're going to get better this year, and I think we do. It's certain things we get better at, and then it's like, okay, now we're just busier. Yeah. We got better, we got busier. So. Yeah.
And they're coming back to Bass this year. A lot of new sponsors came back on board, and things
very blessed year.
Very, very blessed, and it really put the responsibility level super high. And I struggle to say no, and she struggles a little bit to say no. But after a while, there's just only so much peanut butter you can put on bread.
I'm getting better at saying no. I'm getting better at it, and when he doesn't like to, I just tell him, "Hey, just give him my number."
Yeah. But it's a fine line.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to, you just mentioned putting peanut butter on bread.
Yeah, that's it.
The sandwich thing, when we were out there, or I was out there with the ride-along, I was really impressed with my lunch.
Well, thank you.
No, I don't think I had a motivational, inspirational quote on my sandwich bag, though.
I'll do better next time.
I actually had a marshal at one of my last tournaments. His wife had wrote one on a bag and sent it to me. Yeah. So the sandwich bag notes have kind of took off. She does real good at that. And some days I need them. I mean, when it ain't going your way, sometimes just a little friendly reminder that she's got your back, or just keep your head up or keep fighting. It's all you need.
Well, so, you're all about the positive mental attitude, which is awesome. And the inspirational quotes obviously help with that. And I know you're very positive as well. What's it like, you're doing all this stuff, everything you can do to help him when he's out on the water. What's it like for you when he's out there and you can't do anything pretty much after that?
Oh, that's tough. That is tough, especially last year. And I'm not knocking any organization, but I knew he was extremely unhappy, and I could see when I would watch him on live, I could just see the look in his face, and I got to the point that I quit watching, because it would just tear at my heart, because I'm like, no matter how many coffees I make or sandwiches that I make or, emails that I answer, I can't help him with that. That's, something he's got to deal with on his own. And so, yeah, it's tough. It's one of those deals that when he's out there having a ball and he's catching them and he's, having a good time, man, you're celebrating too. I'm in the camper or I'm in the hotel room or wherever I'm at, and I'm just like, thank you, Lord. And then you go through that tournament that he's throwing everything he's got. I mean, he's giving it 150%, and it just hurts so bad. And then it's a different prayer. It's like, Lord, please help him, So it's tough. I mean, I feel like that his highs are mine and his lows are mine as well. So
we've rolled some out together. We've had some lows and highs, and I've put on Instagram before, she's my ride or die, and everybody's like, I'm like, dude, you don't understand. She's my ride or die. She's got my back. No matter how bad I suck or how high I am, I know when push comes to shove, she's got my back.
Well, that's an awesome thing to have, for sure.
It truly is in this industry and in life in general. Somebody's got your back, because sometimes all you need is just somebody to talk to or know you with me. Yep. And that can push you through a lot.
Yep. Well, awesome. What are you most excited about this year?
Tournament-wise? Getting to camp.
Yeah, getting to camp again.
We're taking our camper this year. Said I love to camp. Yeah. I love tournament-wise. I'm thinking about the schedule that we're looking forward to. I mean, I'm looking forward to Chick. We've got some good history there.
You love going up north.
It's
do. Beautiful up there.
And Waddington, they have such a tremendous crowd that comes out. We've got some friends there, and
make it work. I think that the biggest thing for us is we just glad to be home with Bass, and it's a whole different attitude. So in our big perspective picture, we just look forward to all of them. It's like, sure, I'm just glad to be out here, man. Just go with it.
He's also fishing the opens, and he's fishing both sides. So on the central side, he's fishing with his nephew Trey, and so that I'm letting them have guy time.
That's our guy
on
time.
those. I want them to bond, but I want Trey to also see how it's like when you don't have someone out there doing everything. Mm-hmm. You know, like when he has to make his sandwiches or when he has to go get water and I want them to have, I don't want Gerald to be distracted with me or Bama when Trey's there, because I want them to have that bonding time together too. But
it's going to be a good year, Taylor. It's going to be a good year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to talk to us. A very, very busy weekend.
This podcast was done in the storage room of the Sealy Big Bass Tournament.
I think we got to get a picture.
This is priceless. So it's the only place we could hide. So
Nicole's going to take
thank
everybody
you
wave at
for
her.
Nicole Sealy.
Bob.
And that may be your next podcast, because Nicole and her dad have ran the Sealy Outdoor Tournament forever. And actually, at one time, I've actually represented them through a sponsor deal, but they're just great people. And then this lady right here has seen the fishing industry business-wise from the inside out and grew it from literally starting out as nothing to what it is right now. So I think you may be the next up for the business side of this. Yeah. Because this lady can get it done.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you. Trait Zaldain, we met here at the Bassmaster Classic like last year.
Yep.
And we've been trying to get you on the show, and just busy.
Yeah, I'm busy, you're busy, everybody is. That's a good thing, though, for the industry, right? Everybody's busy. So.
That is a good thing, especially for women in the industry.
Yep. Dude, it's trending up, and that's in all facets. That's a great thing.
Yeah. So I love your story because you've taken a pretty unique path to get into fishing. Can you? We have a lot of listeners who are kind of more casual anglers, and so they may not know your background. Can you just give a little quick background on how you got into this?
Sure, yeah. So I've always been a casual angler. I've been fishing since I was a kid. My dad was a tournament fisherman. He was the president of the Bass Club. So I was always around it. Didn't fish tournaments. Went off to college, graduated, went into finance, got over finance, started fishing tournaments, got into the opens, and that's where I'm at now.
Awesome. How long did it take you to get over finance?
Quick, 2 years. There's only so many times you sit in an office, watch that sunrise come up and down, and think I'd rather be outside. Right. So
I stuck it out for 16 years in an office setting, and I about lost my mind. Yeah. So I can relate. So I just took the plunge here not too long ago. So
it's worth it.
Yeah,
I
totally
get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some people that come across you and they see, and then they find out you're married to Chris Zaldain, who's fishing in the Classic here, which is amazing. Yeah. Hope he does really, really well. Yep. But some people probably come across you and think, oh, well, that makes sense. She's married to a pro angler, but you started doing this before.
Yeah, I met Chris and I was already fishing the opens. He saw me weigh in my first open. I got 63rd on Louisville. And he saw me weigh in, and that's who even found out who I was. And he reached out. I never responded. And then I fished another open on Table Rock Lake, and he was at it. And he came up to me and was like, hey, I've been messaging you. You don't respond, but this is who I am. I just wanted to say hi, and that's kind of where it got started. But, yeah, Chris is not why I fish. I did not plan on dating an angler. It just happened. He's the only fisherman I've ever dated. So I didn't think I'd ever want to date an angler. And then I realized, after meeting him, it was meant to be.
Awesome. So what's it like both of you going at this? How do you maintain your relationship? I mean, you both got to be so busy. Who cooks dinner? How does all that work?
We both cook. We both pull our weight. It's definitely not what Southern, households are used to. Right. I think it's evolving and everyone's more open than they used to be. But when he needs to cook, he cooks. When I need to cook, I cook. We both do laundry. We both just, whatever one's doing for the week, if one's fishing, we try and help in all the other ways. So it's just part of a balance, so it's cool.
That's great. I think there is no normal anymore. Society tries to project, this is how you're supposed to live your life. Yeah. You're supposed to work your butt off, save up for retirement, retire. But I've been hearing so many stories about people who do that, and then they retire, and then they get sick and die, immediately, and they don't get the chance to enjoy their lives. You're out there following your passion.
I feel you should enjoy what you have while you have it. You should plan for the future to an extent, but you don't know what your future holds. So why, plan too far ahead? So if you're not happy, then do something about it, is how I feel. And society says certain things like go to college. And looking back, I think, man, I wish maybe I didn't go to college, and I probably would have ended up where I'm at a little quicker. But it is what it is, I think everyone's growing and allowing things and being more open-minded, and it's definitely good for women because, I think that the timing right now for more women getting in the sport is great because a lot more people are receptive now.
Right. Yeah, it's come a long ways in the last few years. We still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, totally.
But we're getting people like you, Christine Fisher, that are getting out there, being role models for other women. I think that's only going to attract more. What drove you to jumping into the straight almost into the opens?
Yeah, I'm just stupid. I'm wired weird. I'm like my dad, and he's wired the same way. If you're going to do something, you do it big, and that's kind of where when I looked into okay, if I'm going to quit my job and do this, I'm going to make a career out of it, I can't just have a hobby of it.
Right.
And the Opens was everything that I looked at. The Opens was the only way for me to make a career. And it was an immediate jump to a national platform with immediate exposure. And I could work the business side of it while also trying to make the elites, which that's the ultimate goal, is to make the elites. So
is that what's your goal this season?
To make the elites, that's always my number one goal. And then I got smaller goals like bring in a limit every Open. And that sounds like nothing, but in the Opens, it's a feat in its own. If you can catch 11 pounds a day in the Opens, you make the elites. It's just the way it works out. They're high pressure scenarios, so I make little goals like that because I know those little goals are what add up to making the elites.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you're kind of like a go big or go home type mentality, so we're rooting for you. Hope you have a great season.
I appreciate it.
And we'll put links to follow you. Where are you most on social media?
I engage on Instagram, and then I really engage on Twitter, but if you get offended easily, do not follow me on Twitter. I'm sure my sponsors don't like my Twitter at all, but I try to engage on everything, but mainly Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. All right. Well, you kind of shared some advice already, following your passion. Any other final words for women out there who are thinking about doing this?
Just keep fishing and don't be afraid to just try whatever you're thinking. Just do it. It's almost harmless. I say it with women in boats and everything. They're like, how do you do that? Dude, you're not going to hurt a boat. Go try it, Go get out there. You do it on your own. And that's my only advice. Don't ever think that fishing's too complicated because it's not.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know the Bassmaster Classic is a super busy time, but we squeezed it in, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Angie.
I'm standing at the base of this wall, facing something I can't get over. Looking up for a way out, 'cause I can't get any lower. Well, I could go left, but I should go right. So many things on the line tonight. One day at a time, there's no need to rush. I'm finding myself going through all this stuff. I'm looking for hope, I'm looking for truth, so I can be a better me. At a time, one day at a time. Said to myself, I can do this all alone. Thought I was strong enough on my own, As for tomorrow,